folks. This is Professor LaFay talking to you the low-tech style to make sure everyone is clear about what they need to do for their assignment for what I learned by reading as a writer. You all know that you need to read 5 short stories and 10 poems, but you may be a little unclear on how to do the craft talk that goes along with it, which is due on the 2nd at noon. What I would like you to do is you want to post your craft talk by the 2nd, and then you want to read and respond to at least 2 craft talks by August the 4th at 11:59 p.m. So I gave you samples of craft discussions in the discussion thread. Now, I only used 1 poem, but I would like you to talk about 3 or 4 poems in your discussion and 2 stories. Okay? So talk about more than 1 poem. But in each poem, you're looking at a particular element of craft. When I looked at Gary Soto's Oranges, I was particularly interested in his use of impacted images. This is the ability of creating 2 images to work in the space of 1 image by a unique use of enjambment and narrative gap. Enjambment is the intentional use of a line break to shape meaning in a poem. A narrative gap is an opening created in a text which is intended to be filled by using clues from the text itself. So this is a story of a young boy who takes a girl he likes to a convenience store. When she comes out of her house, she came out pulling. Here's an example of the use of intentional line break to create an opening or a narrative gap in a text. What is she pulling? Is she pulling a wagon? A reluctant dog? Nope, she's pulling at her gloves. Face bright. So one of the things I thought the first time I read this poem is that her face is bright with a smile. But when you get to the next line, it says, with rouge. So we see the smile we suppose she might be having. And then we realize, nope, it's with rouge. So here, Soto is allowing the use of narrative gap and line break to create deeper meaning. I also gave you a link to the full poem so you can see the rest of it. Then I moved into talking about A Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. She does an amazing thing with dramatic irony in this story, and also her ability to use brevity and to create character and making emotions concrete. But all of those elements go together to create the dramatic irony. In that short story, a young woman with a weak heart learns that her husband has died. And they use the greatest possible care to do this because they're afraid her heart will give out. She's devastated that her husband has died. She goes to her room to mourn. And while she's there, this very late 19th century woman realizes, hey, wait a minute. If my husband is dead, I can be an independent woman and live for myself. So she leaves to her room actually feeling quite triumphant, but when she comes down the stairs, her husband rushes in through the door. He actually rode a different train. So while he was listed as dead on the train he intended to get on, because he did not get off alive, he was labeled as dead, but was actually very well alive. And she sees him and dies of a heart attack. And those who watched her death said she died of a joy that kills, thinking that she was so excited that he was back that it made her heart give out. When in reality, she was devastated over the loss of her newfound freedom. This ironic twist between societal beliefs and internal emotions creates dramatic irony. What happens on stage in the story is very different from what we know to be true, based on inside knowledge. And here you can find A Story of an Hour in its full text. It's an amazing story, particularly when you consider it was originally published in 1894. And by a female writer in a time period when female writers were not given a lot of cultural freedom. So the whole idea behind doing these presentations is showing us how you have learned from the reading that you've done for this week. So please share your insights into the craft of writing based on the reading you've done for this week, and then read the craft talks of 2 of your classmates and respond to them. What did you learn about writing from reading these craft talks? Thank you so much for your hard work, and I wish you all the best. Have a great weekend.